There are some comments in the private chat, Jim, that they're asking where your beard is.
Oh, I misplaced it in Brazil. I went down to Brazil. I had a beard, and somewhere in one of the hotels, I left it behind. So
So that's answering the first question.
the most important question too,
The
right?
most important one. Yeah, that's good. I don't know if we need introductions, but I'm Marco Geuze, the co-founder of GDK, Delphi MVP, longtime Delphi developer or Pascal developer as well. I don't think Jim will need some introduction. Probably everyone knows you, Jim.
I'm Jim McKeith. I'm director of GDK USA. So that's the new thing people don't know me for is that I work with Marco now and run the US office of GDK.
The agenda for today, we will touch briefly on what Codolex actually is. Probably most of you will know it already, but just a brief introduction of what it is, what the benefits are of using Codolex in your daily job as a Delphi developer. We go over what's new in Codolex 2.0. Of course, there will be a demo, and we have some very special announcement at the end of the webinar. So keep watching and don't miss that. Webinar will likely last about 45 minutes to an hour, probably. There will be plenty of time for Q&A at the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We'll certainly answer them. If not directly, then at the end of the webinar. So that's it for the agenda. So Codolex, in case you don't know what it is, Codolex is a low-code solution for Delphi developers. A low-code solution or a low-code tool is a way to develop your business logic in a visual way. So instead of writing every line of code, you just use flows and drag and drop building blocks to visually build your business logic. And what Codolex does is it generates source code based on these visual flows. So you have a very fast way and very clear way of defining your business logic. And in the end, you will end up with Delphi source code that you use in your applications. Um, because of the structure we use, you have to use Delphi 10.3 or newer. We do have a standalone version which you can use or a command line version. But as we generate source code, you always need a compiler, a Delphi compiler, to build your application. But other than that, there are no runtime requirements, so you can just work with Codolex, work as you did before, but just a little bit faster, a little bit nicer, a better way of doing these developments, and we'll touch into all the benefits of that in a moment. Um, but you will end up with source code, and so that works across all these platforms. And the last point, it is fully extensible. These building blocks, and then we'll show these later in the demo, are completely flexible, so you can create your own building blocks, your own activities. Uh, it's really helpful. What's new in Codolex 2.0? And I'll show you this in the demo and in a little bit more detail, but we've added a lot more activities. So these building blocks that you have in Codolex, we extended them with a lot more math, daytime availabilities, system utils, a lot of regex. But not only that, we did a lot to the usability. So it's even easier to work with Codolex, and we constantly creating new features to make it more flexible and more easier to work with. We also improved the help system. If you want to add something to that, Jim, go ahead.
I was going to say it feels like for me as a developer and working with other developers that the usability, just the ability to get stuff done in it is always the thing that seems to resonate most with developers. When the interface becomes so much smoother like it is in 2.0. So I think that's a really big one. It's one of those things that it's easy to gloss over, but I feel like that's what makes the
Absolutely.
biggest difference from day to
Yeah,
day.
yeah, I completely agree. Like Delphi, it's a tool that you use all day long. So the better it feels, the better, the smoother it is, the better your workflow is. And
Yep.
so, yeah, that's quite an improvement. Yeah, indeed. We also changed the help system. So we have an extensive help system available on the internet. We have also an official guide for Codolex, what is it, 80 pages long guide on how to get started, what the activities are, what you can do with it, best practices. We'll share that later in the webinar, but that's really useful as well. Quality improvements, that's an ongoing thing, as always is with software development, right? Fixes to whatever there is. And a new pricing model, but I'll leave that for the end of the webinar.
I think everybody will like it.
Absolutely.
When we introduced Codolex, it was really focused on developer productivity. And as software developers, we like to think, oh yeah, it's all about speed, it's about getting stuff done fast. That's why we like Delphi, is we can get things done quickly and make quick applications. But we really started thinking about Codolex as we looking at it more and using it internally and with some of our customers, and realized it is really way more than developer productivity. And honestly, I think when that's all we focus on as developers, we're really selling ourselves short. And so we kind of want to talk about how Codolex is more than just developer productivity. You look at the software development lifecycle or whatever paradigm you use for software development, whether it's Scrum or whatever, there's a lot more than just the writing code part of it. There's the joke that, you know, people think all I do as a software developer is write really fast and the keyboard, smoking because I'm typing so fast. But we spend so much time looking at the code and trying to understand what's going on in the application and refactoring it and fixing it and stuff like that. And so really want to talk about how Codolex fits into this whole life of software development. And so there's a number of other benefits beyond just the developer productivity. One of the things is, if you've worked with GDK before, or Marco or myself, we're always about best practices and clean code and all these things like that. And so a lot of that philosophy of clean code is in Codolex. And so Codolex really focuses on best practices and giving your team the ability to create code that adheres or more closely adheres to best practices. It takes heavy use of interfaces. It does loose coupling. So the classic Delphi software development is the rapid application development where you write code in the form. And Codolex introduces loose coupling by its nature. And so it allows you to decouple the business logic from the UI. And that's a really big difference there. And solid principles, probably are familiar with these. Just wanted to spell them out as well. You start to get more advantages of this in Codolex in just the way that it goes. But of course, developer productivity is a big deal. You write less code, you get more done in less time, which Marco is going to do a demo later that does a really good job showing that off, that you get a lot done in less time. Because of the nature of Codolex is that you are creating your business logic visually, makes it easier to understand and collaborate, and for everybody to see what's going on and understand it better. And the great thing is, because the visual representation becomes the code, then you don't have the issue where if you write documentation or comments where the comments get out of sync of the code, you change the code, you don't update the comments, and now it's just confusing. Or you don't have the issue where you use Visio or a whiteboard to design the business logic, and then that again has to be translated or gets out of sync. And so it gives you a visual representation that is accurate of the business logic.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, so it's not only for yourself, but also for the team. So if you have some business analyst or someone else, or a tester, for example, they can also look into, for a standalone application, for example, look into what's happening under the hood, or how the business logic is structured. So it's indeed not only for yourself, which is really useful, but also for all the people that work with you. So there are multiple benefits to this visualization of your business logic.
That, right, Marco was just saying, is that you have business analysts, and so there's a standalone version of Codolex, right? So it's integrated into your Delphi IDE, but then you can give the standalone version to business analysts, subject matter experts, and they can directly express this visually. It gives them the ability to be part of the development process, really, because how they express that visually then becomes the code that you as the developer can implement into the application. And we touched on this before, collaboratively, it lets you can work with more people, whether it be other developers or non-developers, so that you can all see something that you can understand easier and better to collaborate on the project. And at the end of the day, when you're writing less code, you have, as Ian just said, fewer lines of code means fewer places to look if there's an error. Exactly. Yeah. and it's easier to maintain.
Yeah.
This is a big one. If you've ever worked on big teams, there's always one person on the team that has like a totally different way of doing things. And, it's good to see different points of view, but I've been in a number of projects where there's like one section that's like, I don't want to go there because so and so wrote that and
Yeah.
they had a different way of doing things and it's just a pain, it's complicated to work with. But with Codolex, it because it brings these best practices in, it gives the entire team a consistent architecture and makes it easier for the entire application to be understood. And that makes it easier for the developers to work on whatever part of the project that they need to, and they can move around easier and makes the whole project easier to maintain as the architecture is consistent across the, the entire application. This goes back to simpler maintenance, is that quicker updates as well. And this one is because, again, you can have the subject matter experts or business analysts, right, that are they can update their flow, right? They can be working on that portion of it, and then as soon as they've made that update, they can commit to that flow to source control, and then the command line interface can run and convert that into Delphi code. The next build that can be incorporated in. Now, of course, as a developer, you're going to want to make sure that it works. If they change the interface, that could break the code, for example. But because that process of them updating the business logic, updating the requirements is integrated into the development process, right? It's committed to source control. The advantages that we've come to appreciate of software development is now been extended to the subject matter experts and the business analysts. And that really does improve the entire process. And I realize I'm kind of just breezing through this, Marco. Anything you wanted to add
It's
so far? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
it's great. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think with all these webinars, it's good to know the foundations of what we're going to show you. But
Yeah.
still, I think everyone has the same feeling. Okay, show me what it does. So it's fine. I think we can
Yeah.
quickly go through these, and we have plenty of time for Q&A after the demo.
All right.
So that's
So
right.
one of the last things is, and this goes into best practices as well, is better testing. And actually, I think Marco, you have some stuff you could show with this where we
Yep.
actually use Codolex internally to test Codolex. Testing is so important, but it's one of those things that if you don't start from good architecture with best practices, it's a lot harder to add testing into your application if you don't have those foundational elements. And so because Codolex has the loose coupling and breaks the RAD model, if you will, it makes it easier to introduce testing later. So actually, I'll go and turn it over to you and let you do some demos now, Marco, and I'll peruse the comments and see if there's anything I can answer.
Yeah, that's all right. So what I want to do first is share my screen and show you how we use indeed Codolex for actual applications. So I want to give you a very brief overview of such an application, but also some of the tests that we have, so I can show you a little bit about that. After that, I am going to play a pre-recorded demo of Codolex. It's just 20 minutes, I think, but it really gives you an overview of how you can work with Codolex, what the benefits of that are, and then we get back to the presentation, and we have plenty of time for Q&A, but also, of course, the new pricing structure. I won't go into detail on and explain to you what Codolex is or how it looks like, because most of you will know that. If not, there are plenty of videos on our YouTube channel, which you can look at. But just to give you an overview, so this is one of the projects that we built internally for a customer. Of course, it's not real names, but just to give you an idea. So here we have a lot of these flows that are built using Codolex, which in this case connects to a CNC machine and does everything what is necessary to connect to this machine and make sure that it behaves the right way. So here you see some of these flows. So we have a lot of these in here. Some of them are small, some of them are a little bit bigger. But you build kind of these applications with Codolex, and it all integrates nicely into Delphi and into existing applications if you want as well. But it gives you a very good overview of what's in here and how you can navigate through this. You can search for usages, for example. Now, we were talking about the Codolex testing framework. So we built Codolex. If I have the correct project open here, I do. We built Codolex and we test Codolex with Codolex itself. So here you see our test integration project with all the activities that we have, and there are quite a lot. If I open all this, you'll see a lot of these flows. These are all flows with business logic in it. And the beauty of this is that we generate source code based on these flows. and have a DUNetX project which uses all these flows to test our own code, basically. So it's really useful to use Codolex with unit tests as well. Now, to give you a brief overview of what's new in case that you're already working with Codolex. So we've added a lot of activities in here. So as you can see in the palette, we have a lot of new datetime utilities you can use, some encoding stuff in here, a lot of file system activities. There are some hashing, math libraries, the regular expression, so a lot more activities. But we also made a couple of changes into, as we said before, into the usability part. So the easier you can work with Codolex, the better it is. So for example, you could search here for an activity, but you can also say, I want to do something with a string. Let's say I want to add a parameter to this flow. I can just type in string, drag in this parameter, and it automatically is already configured for the data type string. So all these small things will really help you into working faster with Codolex. So it's about all these little things that working with Codolex makes it really fun. Now I want to go to the demo of building an application. Let me see if I've taught you everything. I think the last part is the help system. So we were talking about this before. So at codolex.com/help, and there's a link on the Codolex website as well. You'll find an extensive help on how to get started, for example, with Codolex, everything what's in Codolex, but also creating your own activity. So these building blocks you see here are predefined by us, but you're completely flexible. So in case you think, okay, this is something I need or I'd like to build, you can build your own activity and add it to Codolex, to your own local Codolex project in the palette. So we published a complete guide on how to do that. So there's a lot in here, including the sort of a zip file to get started. But certainly good to have a look if you want to do more with Codolex. All right. So that's it for a really brief overview of Codolex itself. I now want to give you the demo of building an application. Will be around 22 minutes, and then we'll get back to here and talk about the pricing and the Q&A part.
Actually, I do want to mention a couple things. There
Sure.
were
Go ahead.
someone mentioned M-Driven, which is another visual development tool. So there are other ones out there. I looked. There's a number of them even that work with Delphi as well, and they're actually. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Can I do that? Oh no, I can't. All right, that's fine. There are other tools out there, and I honestly, when before I came to work for GDK, Marco showed me what they're working on with Codolex, and at first I was like, another one of these. But honestly, it really feels like this one solves the things I saw as problems with other tools that are out there. One of which being the fact that it doesn't tie you to it, and that when you use Codolex, the code it generates doesn't have any dependencies on Codolex in the future. So you can say, I don't want to keep using Codolex, I'm done, and just take the code and go forward. So the extensibility and stuff like that really, really make Codolex, I think, the best solution out there. And I think with the new pricing model, it's going to be very competitive with the other options.
Absolutely.
And the new pricing model is free.
Exactly. Which will be a surprise to most of you, perhaps. But yeah, no, indeed, the new 2.0 is completely free. It includes everything that's in there. There are no runtime fees, no deployment costs. So basically, you can just get Codolex, get started, build whatever you want, and improve your development speed and well, whatever you want. I see.
When Marco's like, "Hey, we're gonna do this for free," I'm like, "Whoa, hold on." So we talked about this, and one of it is we are big fans of Delphi and we love the community. And so this is a part of this is that we're giving back and trying to elevate what it is to be a Delphi developer and the quality of code that's out there. But another thing is that really we get a lot of value internally from this and we use it in our consulting. And so it's worth it to us to have this just for our use. But then by making it free, it lets us focus on our services and things along those lines, and makes it easier for us to work with our customers about it. So our customers can have their business analysts, right? Because a lot of companies we work for maybe don't have a lot of in-house developers, so their business analysts can use Codolex, design the flows, give them to us, and then we can build the applications with it. And so it really, honestly, the more people that use this, it does benefit us quite a bit.
We want to spread it as much as possible to make it the tool you use when you develop your Delphi applications. I saw a couple of comments indeed. Okay, how do you fill your fridge? That's a good one, of course, because so. By the way, I saw another one that asking if it's open source. So no, it's not open source, but still, you get all the source that you um, if you work with Codolex, you get all the source, so that's fine. But really, what we want to do is every Delphi developer to create these activities as well and build the whole list of these building blocks, because then it will even add more value. Now, of course, well, we as Olaf said, we need to fill our fridge as well. So we do this by using what we already are doing, which is consultancy and services. Oh yeah, that's the next slide indeed. So yes, it is completely free. You can just get started. There is extensive help available. We have the Codolex official guide with a lot of information on how to get started. But as we are a consultancy company, and yeah, we'd like to make money as well, which helps the development of Codolex after all. If you want to get started and you need some help from us, we can do that, of course, as well. So that's why we have several service options, several consultancy options to help you get started, to work together with us, because in the end, that is also the feedback that we'd like to get. How does it go when you get started? What are your experiences, the pitfalls, what you have to be aware of? So for us, it's valuable as well. But of course, if you want to get started and have a more personalized way of getting started, we are happy to help. So I think that answers the question. Okay, how do we make money out of that? Well, as we always do with Delphi development, we are Delphi experts, and we'd like to help other Delphi developers with our expertise. We can give back a lot with the free version. If you want a bit more tailored support, happy to help.
Yeah, and I think that it's also there. I know that there's the joke that a lot of companies will offer things for free and then sell you services because you can't use it by yourself. Codolex definitely is, the learning curve is pretty low, or pretty easy for people to get up to speed on it and use it. So it's not like you're never going to figure this out on your own. It's just that honestly, that we're all about services and giving services, and so there definitely is an advantage sometimes to getting help, having us come in and help you, and we'd love to help you. And especially, if you're just like, oh, this is so cool, I know I can figure it out on my own, but I would love to, pick your brain and get some more information out of it and get, say thank you. Hey, absolutely, we're there for you. So yeah. Questions. Actually, let's go ahead and the questions are coming in fast. We probably get started on these. We're not going to lose
Yes,
track.
let's do that. Yeah.
Comments about using inline variables, and that goes back to best practices. Is that really because we are part of being focused on best practices and making good clean code and stuff? Inline variables, I think, are a big part of that as well. All those things.
That's why we also, one of the reasons that we require 10.3 or later, because can't use them before 10.3.
Honestly, I guess maybe this would be a nefarious motivation, is that if more people use Codolex than when they come to us for services, then it makes it easier to work with their code because it's so clean and nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Olaf says looks really cool. I've been experimenting with Olam and its REST APIs to understand what Codolex delivers here through its designer. Is Codolex for the business code flow only, or does it have a UI part as well, like show detail card of the current customer record and list of past invoices?
Good one. So we completely rely on Delphi for the visual part. So if you want to build a visual application, you have to use the the editor from Delphi to build your graphical interface. So Codolex is really about working with business logic and business code. You can, for example, and we have some activities in Codolex as well to open forms or to interact with a user. So like we have activities to open a file or save a file, like these dialogues. But for the visual part, so the designing part, you really need Delphi. Because in the end, Delphi is, you can do so much with that. And I think that's one of the strong points of Delphi, that it's so easy to create graphical interfaces with Delphi. So why redevelop that? It's just use Delphi for that. But
I think
use
we probably have some
yeah.
things, integrations with the UI part. I mean, there are like the show dialogues, and those dialogues can be forms, for example, as well. So, you know, it
Yes.
could be that there might be some things that make a lot of sense in there, but yeah, the really focus is on the business logic.
Yeah, and that's because another reason for that is if you want to develop your application using Codolex, and let's say you have a good business flow or a good business logic part, and you want to use it in a service or an API, for example, then you don't want to mix that with user interactions. So again, I think it's best practice to have that separated as much as possible. So that's another reason to do that. Let me see.
Milan says, this is pretty jaw-dropping. What sort of learning curve or time do you estimate it takes an experienced Delphi programmer to learn how to effectively use Codolex? I would say so. I read through the document. It's about 80-page ebook that Marco helped compile of the getting started. It goes through a lot. It goes through how to build activities, which is something else that we didn't really get into, but you can create your own activities, the palette on the right there. So you can read through that pretty quick, and I think you're able to get the basics of it and get going pretty quickly with that. So it's not a huge learning curve if you already know how to program, and even for non-programmers, right? They can read the first half of that and know how to express business logic in the standalone version so that they can start contributing to the team.
Yeah.
Is the ebook up for download on the website?
That's a good one. Not yet. I'll publish that tomorrow. I'll share, and I can share a link with everyone that that was here, so as an extra benefit. But I'll publish it tomorrow. Yeah. Let me see what else there was. Olaf was asking about the models for the Olama. Yeah, I did use Tiny Llama, and I think, let me have a look. I don't know. If you go to the Olama website and search for the models, they have a couple of them. If you want to know more, just send me a personal message. That's fine.
So Dave's asking, will it be possible to add RBAC workflows and generic databases, etc.?
Not familiar with RBAC. What's that? Do you know that?
I'm not sure either.
Okay, so for generic databases, I can certainly answer. So what we have right now is a complete entity framework as well. So if you have a database that you are using right now, you can, as I did with the JSON structure, you can also import your database structure. So you can work with Codolex using your complete data structure and with the entities in Codolex. We are using FireDeck for that, but we made that flexible. So if you use another database, or you're not using FireDeck but another database provider, you can build your own database connectivity tools within Codolex and work with all the entities that we have in Codolex. We did show just a really a small part of what's in Codolex. You can work with databases. You have to get from database activity building blocks, so you can use these entities and queries, etc. And it's all flexible. So in case you use Oracle and you have your own provider, just build your own. I think we even have a YouTube video on that, on how to build custom database connectors. Should be somewhere in there on our YouTube channel. So yes, it is possible to build all these. Yeah.
RBAC's role-based access control, security on databases.
Right. It's not something that is built in, so you can build your own flows to validate it. I didn't show that, but it's really easy to connect all these flows together. So if you have a flow, you can really easily use this in another flow. So just drag and drop from a flow to another flow to layer these things and build on top of whatever you have for role-based access, for example.
I know that we talked about it. I don't know if that's on the roadmap yet, but maybe I should ask, are we still planning to make it so that you can take a flow and put it like on the palette, or is it going to be
Yes.
only
Yeah.
pull flows
Yeah.
from the left?
That is absolutely on the roadmap. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. And that's one of the things also, the more people that use Codolex and are creating activities and in theory could create and share flows, right? Is then that it's going to be like when Delphi came out and everybody started making components, is that again, improves, benefits everybody as more people are contributing and working with it. So yeah. Olaf's asking about threads. Can you use Codolex from background threads?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not building yet. So that's another thing that is on the backlog to use these parallel programming and threading in there. But in the end, Codolex generates source code. So what you could do is build a complete flow or a complete set of flows, and then access these from within a thread, and then this all gets executed within this thread. Of course, you have to be aware of that everything in there is thread safe. But yes, that's possible. So you can
Yeah.
do that. But yeah, if you use anything like the dialogues, then you can expect some funny things, of course. But yes, you can run this within background threads. Yeah.
That's actually one of the things I love about Codolex is that the code it's generating, because it doesn't have like some sort of like state management system or some other thing outside of your standard Delphi code, it's really it's just a new way of expressing Delphi code, really. And
Yeah.
so whatever you want to do in Codolex, use it however you'd use Delphi, any of the platforms or whatever. It just works.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, what else do we have? A lot of other questions, I think. So
So
data
Olaf said
connectors,
no
I think,
UI is
yeah.
fine. I just wanted to understand where it goes, though there might be something UI so that could do a full UI app through your standalone version, which is I'm not interested in. Yeah, the standalone version really is only for letting non-programmers contribute to the team and become part of the team.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
But
anything. We have no designs on making a standalone application.
complete standalone, no.
Yeah,
No.
it's
Because in
really
the end, in the end, it generates source code. So you'll need Delphi anyway. Yeah. Yeah. I see some comments about the data connectors from Olaf, which we talked about. Michelle using Codolex indeed. So I think you're using Codolex, Michelle, to connect to these IBM AS400 or DB2. So that works fine. Yeah. Let me see.
So David says it's focused on helping programming, not creating applications. Yeah, it's not a standalone. It doesn't compete with Delphi. It extends Delphi.
Exactly.
Milan's asking, what's been your experience with Codolex improving communications, developers talking with business analysts and users, getting specifications right for the first time, for example?
So internally, so we are a team of Delphi developers, so everyone knows Delphi and knows how to work with that. I know that it's really easy to talk to non-Delphi developers and show you what it is or how the flow will go, and they understand that a lot easier than looking at source code. So it absolutely helps. Yeah.
And then that CNC application you showed, for example, I mean, that's actually how much of that is in Codolex versus in other Delphi code? Is it mostly
So
Codolex and then Delphi
it
code's the
is.
UI, or?
Yeah, Delphi code is only UI, and really everything else is in Codolex, which is still Delphi code in the end. But indeed, the business logic is all in Codolex, and that works really fine. So we have sometimes you come across something that is not in Codolex available yet. So you want to access a specific Delphi function or a specific class, for example. But then still, we do have the code snippet available as a building block, so you can always hook into a Codolex flow and write your own code. Although we try to minimize that, of course, but sometimes it's necessary. So then you can use this this piece of activity to hook into a existing flow. But usually you can just go with everything that is available. I saw another one for Delphi. A question about Delphi Professional. You should be able to use Delphi to use Codolex with Delphi Professional. So although we internally for the data structure use FireDeck, it's not a requirement to use Codolex. So in case you want to use your own or other database connectors, it's absolutely fine to use the Delphi Professional and Codolex. Let me see. I think Jim, are you there or?
I'm here. I'm not sure what happened to my camera.
Yeah, okay, no worries. The photo you're with a beard, so that's always hard to see the difference. Let me quickly go through the rest of the questions. There are a lot more. A couple of them asking about a replay. So yes, we do have a replay available. So after the end of the webinar, you will get a replay, and we'll post this on YouTube as well. So in case you're interested and want to learn more, if you search for Codolex on YouTube, we have a channel available. You can have a look at that. Make sure you subscribe so you see all the new videos as well. We also have, by the way, a GDK software channel, which can be interesting as well. We publish a lot of content there. Let me see if there are any other questions that we didn't answer yet.
I'm back.
Good. So this version of the free version of Codolex 2.0 is live today. So if you go to codolex.com, you can click on the download link, find all the documentation online as well. The new ebook I will send to you later. You can have a look at that.
So David says he downloaded it and tried to install it, and it gave him a FireDeck's missing. He probably needs to patch Delphi. Is that I think that error message usually means that he's running an unpatched version of Delphi. Is that right?
Could be, but if not, then certainly, you can send us a message at support@codolex.com. We'll have a look at that, because you should be able to just to run Codolex without having to have the enterprise version. Although we do have the enterprise.
It says he has 12.1 patched. Okay, so yeah,
we'll have a look at that. Still the
installer only.
Does
the installation does it require Delphi or not? It doesn't require Delphi, does it?
To be installed? Doesn't. No, okay. No. There's another error, because you could install Codolex in a standalone environment and just run the standalone version of Codolex. So you should be able to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Please send us the error message and we'll have a look at that, and we'll fix it as well. All right.
Glad you're downloading it though. Sorry it didn't work.
I think we answered most of the questions. Well, we really love your feedback as well. So if you play around with it and you come across something that doesn't work, let us know, or some ideas into improving Codolex as well. And after all, we would love to your help in spreading the news about Codolex. So if you like Codolex, make a blog post or a LinkedIn message or a Twitter or something, or X, or something like that. It's always nice to spread the news about a great tool, and we think it is a great tool. So play around with it, give us the feedback. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. And I guess maybe as far as how I put food in the fridge, other ulterior motives, right, is that if we change the world and all Delphi developers start using Codolex, then it means more people to know about GDK software, and maybe
Absolutely.
they're more likely to
Yeah.
hire us. So yeah, absolutely. Spread the word. If you love what we're doing, tell people about GDK software and Codolex, and we will be happy and consider it a win.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Thanks everyone for being here.
Yes, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Have a nice day.
Take care, everybody. Bye.